you already promised to change, completely alive at the turn of the year, the perfect diet, the habit of reading, the dream routine, and even with all motivation, abandoned everything weeks later. If yes, you are not alone. Segundo US News and World Report, 80% of New Year resolutions fail until early February. The problem is not you, is the illusion of sudden transformation. We live in a culture that romanticizes before and after, instant success, the radical turn. But the reality is that drastic changes, when not supported by consistent habits, collapse under their own weight. We want to jump from chaos to order in a single leap. But real life doesn't work like that. It is built like cutting a sculpture. In small touches, almost invisible, more constant. That's why so many promises do not survive the first obstacle. Because they were made in a hurry and not on purpose. Willingly, but without one realistic way to sustain that will. The truth is that we did not fail due to lack of ambition, but by despising the strength of the little one, repeated, of the simple, what it looks like, too slow for anyone taught to run? And if instead of seeking revolutions, let's start respecting revolutions. What if the answer wasn't to change everything at once, but to change a little, every day? This is where the Kaizen concept comes in, a Japanese philosophy that proposes exactly that. Steady progress, in no hurry, but no break. She doesn't promise miracles, nor empty promises. Just invites you to look at change with new eyes. Eyes that see the power of the almost imperceptible. What is repeated of who you are. And this journey begins now. Kaizen comes from two Japanese words. Falls, which means change, and Zen, which means better. Together form the idea of continuous improvement. Simple, more powerful. The Kaizen philosophy was born in Japan. After the Second World War, was first applied in factories, especially at Toyota, to make processes more efficient and less wasted. But what started as a production method spread as a philosophy of life. Kaizen teaches that the secret is not to doing too much at once, but in doing a little every day, consistently and intentionally, is different from everything. That the culture of immediacy teaches us it's not about unattainable goals or tabletop turns. It's about small steps, so small that sometimes no one notices. But with time, the accumulation of these small actions transforms everything. You wake up one day and realize you're stronger, calmer, more organized, not because he made a revolution, but because it respected the process of evolution. Kaizen doesn't require talent, no luck, only requires presence and repetition. It doesn't matter if you're starting from scratch. What matters is starting and continue. This is the beauty behind philosophy. She doesn't ask you to be someone different. She just invites you to be a little better than yesterday. And when we understand this, transformation ceases to be a burden and becomes part of the way. Kaizen is not just a method, it's a philosophy. And like all philosophy, it is born from a way of seeing the world. To realize that time is an ally, no enemy. The Heraclitus, one of the first philosophers of Greece, said, "Nothing is permanent except the change," i.e., everything is in flux, everything is changing. The question is how we choose to change. Aristotle believed that the Bible is a habit, not something you conquer in a single act, but something that is built by repetition, day after day, choice after choice. Already the Stoics, as Seneca and Epictet, taught to focus on what is under our control and what is always in our control. Today's step, not yesterday's, nor tomorrow's. just the now. Kaizen talks about it all. He is not opposed to greatness, he just redefines the way to her. Not like a race, but like a walk with purpose. It is a philosophy that respects the rhythm of the soul, who understands that true progress is not. It's silent, interior, almost invisible, until it becomes part of you. And it is exactly this invisible force that makes Kaizen so powerful, because little by little, he transforms you, without you having to destroy yourself in the process. Imagine a single drop of water falling on a stone. She looks weak. Alone makes no difference. But if that drop falls every day in the same place, something surprising happens. The stone gives way. It wasn't the force, it was the constancy. And this is the paradox of gout. What it looks like, too small to change anything, changes everything with time. Darren Hard calls this the aggregate effect. Small decisions made consistently create great transformations. The difference is almost invisible at first, but inevitable in the end. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, brings one curious data. If you improve 1% a day, not end of 1 year, will be 37 times better. Yes, 37 times. For the simple fact of repeating a minimal improvement daily. That's the strength of repetition. She is not impressive at first, but changes your identity over time. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who does. The drop does not question whether it is working. She just falls. Day after day. No applause. Without oxygen. Purpose only. And maybe that's what we lack. Rely more on the process than on the immediate result. Be like the drop. Persistent. Even when no one is looking. We live in the time of speed. We want results for yesterday. 7-day plans. Bodies transformed in 1 month. Miracles in 22 of video. But the human soul does not evolve at this pace. It does not meet productivity deadlines. It requires depth. Continues. Repetition. Segundo American Psychological Association, excess goals and real has increased levels of anxiety and frustration because we create a chasm between the time we have and the time we demand of ourselves. We live in a performance society. We explore ourselves to exhaustion, thinking this is freedom. But this is not freedom. It's a golden prison. The illusion that we will only be good enough when we are ready, perfect, fast. Kaizen opposes this. It doesn't require speed. It requires presence, one step after another. There is no hurry, but there is direction. And maybe instead of accelerating, we need to learn to stay, to value the now, to reflect the relationship between time and meaning. Because true progress is not measured in orbit, but in intention. And it is in that intention that we find freedom. Not for running, but for continuing. You don't need to change everything today, only needs to change one thing. Something simple, small, but that can be repeated tomorrow. Exchange 5 minutes of social network for 1 book page. Add 2 minutes of deep breathing. Before going to sleep, make 1 more conscious food choice at lunch. Just that, and repeat. The secret is in the constancy, not in intensity, is what the Japanese call churari. 3 stages of learning: obey, adapt, and transcend. At the beginning, you just repeat. Then you begin to understand. And one day makes it naturally, effortless, because that is already part of you. Kaizen doesn't require you to have a perfect plan. Just requires you take the first step, and then the next, and one more. If you are lost, Start with what's at your fingertips. Make the bed, drink water, reply a message with kindness. Looks small maybe, but that's where the transformation lives. Because big changes start where no one is looking. The question was never how to change everything at once. But yes, what can I do today that brings me closer to who I want to be? Kaizen teaches us that value is in the process, in silent discipline, in the courage to try again, even when no one notices your effort. You don't need a revolution, need a commitment. With myself, with your rhythm, with its evolution. Life is not a finish line, is a sculpture in progress, an work, always being refined. One gesture at a time, then breathe, choose a simple step and walk. In no hurry, no applause, but with purpose. Because real progress does not scream, he whispers. Every day,